All right. Evening, everybody. It's Roden, and welcome to Eve Station Trading episode 45. Actually, got a lot of stuff to cover today. Right now, we actually got a fair amount of stuff to cover, including battle reports, some big fights in Providence over the weekend. Yeah, man, it's gotten real for sure, which is really good from a market perspective. It's incredibly exciting right now, actually. If you have the means to do anything about it, that is, and not just reacting to and not just panicking. I guess it's a bad time to be panicking. But as per usual, we'll go ahead and get started with our calls from last week, and we'll move on from there. Actually, we got a lot to cover, honestly. And hey, Cap, always first one in. All right, good to go. All right, let's take a look at what we got. First, we're gonna look at we went over some boosters last week, so we'll go over those again just to see how we did with our call. All right, we called the Anti-Pharmacon Placebo last week as a buy. Because it was just generally up, to be honest. Not so much as a product of it being. So it would have been like right around here. That would have been a good call. That would have been a good call. That would have given us the ability to actually capture it, at least on this cycle, on the low end of it. Let's see. Let's go back 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's say you got that at, I don't know, 7.7 mil a piece, and you've been able to sell it probably like 8 or 9. 9, 7, 7.7 to 9. That would have given you 16%. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's respectable. Especially for something that we don't have a whole lot of history with. That's actually pretty good. That's a good call. Hopefully someone made out on that. That's pretty decent. As far as volume, it's not much. But, there is that. They just don't make this stuff anymore. That's really what it comes down to. All right, the next one would be again on the Anti-Pharmacon family here, the Anti-Pharmacon Thurio. Another good call. Let's go back 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, bottom end. Let's see. So let's say generously 6.6 and top end to 9. Well, that's good. That's 36%. 36%. But then the volume is less. It's sub 500. In the 100 to 200 range. But then that's just in Jita. If you were actually, would you have made a killing if this? Well, if this is part of kind of like your drug doctrine, or as part of your doctrine having these drugs on board, then I think you would have made out. I mean, most people kind of just have that as part of the fit, right? But you don't have to. Like I personally, me, as long if the drugs are available in the market, I'll grab it. If not, I just carry on without it. It's fine. Just one of those things. I really got to revisit these boosters again. Then I was kind of surprised at how predictably cyclic they are. I think that's a good way to go about it. And next one we went over is Interceptor. This is gonna be a mainstay. It's just, I think it's just gonna be a matter of catching it as it's going through its price cycles. So as a category, so we called it. Let's take a look. I mean, I can tell you just not even 2 hours ago, there was a combat scepter fleet going on in Provi right now. So it's a mainstay in soft warfare. You got your mainline doctrines, you got your kind of Entosis relevant fleet comps. Then you just got good old fashioned combat scepters. They're good. They're good. So let's take a look. So combat scepters as opposed to the travel scepters, right? Is it the malediction or the crusader? We'll just say the malediction for now. No, I think it's crusader actually. I'm terrible at this. I'm terrible at the Amar line. I just don't use it. Me personally, I prefer to use the Raptors or the Minotaur ones. Yeah, it is Crusader. So it's still dropped. It's actually so we called this as a buy. It's still a buy, but it's moving sideways, so it's not getting any lower, and it's catching it on the top end. Now, mind you, this is just so when you think about, at least the way I think about it, when I see things that I physically see in fleets, things that are called for, to make that kind of comparison as far as creating a picture in the market just from the Forge region, Jita, it's a bit skewed because I mean we get it that Jita is the main source of. It's a good indicator of how well something is in demand, but it's not the immediate picture because people can, I think we can reasonably say, depending on well which actors are involved, they may actually be producing their own, and seeing the picture in Jita may not be the best way to take a look at it. So it's just something to keep in mind. You're gonna have to basically reconcile between what you see in Jita and what you actually see in your respective region, if your region is actually seeing conflict, right? So something to think about. At least in the Jita picture, the Forge picture, it's still at a buy. So there's that. Could be that it's just not as popular as the other one. That and it's like, yeah, they're in demand, but at the same time, it's they're interceptors. They're really tough to kill. I'm just saying. Aside from being like nullified, Raptor, same thing. Bottom end here. I probably should start when I make these calls specifically because of what I see in Providence. I should probably give you the Providence picture. That's probably appropriate. Still a buy. That's in a reasonable trading channel between 30 and 30, 30 and 35. So let's play out. Let's play off of that 30 to 35. Off that trade channel, you can get 16%. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I love the Aries, man. So good. It's the bottom end, but at the same time, it's another trade channel. Let's call it. Let's see. What's this? 27 to 30. %. That's still pretty. That's still good. That's still good. That's still good. If you're comfortable playing off of, I don't know, as an individual trader, if you can play off 10 to 20 of these a day, I think that's really good. Oh, look at that. All right, I think the claw is super popular. It's a lot more maneuverable, and it feels better as an interceptor. It really does. It really feels better. Like for me, when I fly it, I prefer to fly the claw. Claws and Raptors. That's all I actually have stock for my guys either, as well. There may be like an Aries or two in there. But let's go back 7 days on this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We caught it right at the flip, right at the. Let's say you were one of the lucky few who were watching last week and suffering through the technical difficulties with all of us. Sorry, guys. Let's say you got it at 29, and then you're able to sell it on the top end here at 35, 29 to 35. It's a 20% increase. That's pretty good. And even if you were to even covered a quarter of the daily volume for the last 2-3 days or so, that's a lot of money. Potentially a lot of money. I mean, maybe not even all that much effort. That's the biggest thing, though, isn't it? It's putting it all together with the effort. All right, so I think that's all our buys from last week. Yep. I'm gonna go over our sells. We called out excavator mining drones. This is gonna be really interesting because even with all the conflicts that are going on right now, are especially with the players involved, are people still finding the time to Care Bear it up? Well, the obvious answer is yes. It's just how much care bearing is really happening. It just started going down. Let's go back 7 days on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Caught it right at the crest. It was the highest. It was the highest point in the last 90 days when we called it. That's pretty good. Guy was like 100 sold. 100 sold. What? Yeah, man. On the interceptors or the excavators? It's good either way. To be honest, super good either way. All right, so that's a good call. And then, if I remember correctly, folks were saying, in their tag, there's the great excavator mining drone purge. So Sebastian says the null bears are care bearing enough without their usual protective umbrella. Good point. Creating opportunities for small hunting gangs. Very, very true. I'm just not used to seeing them used as a regular ship. It's actually even in Provi we do have Rorqual pilots in Provi, but they're elusive, man. They know they're there. They're there, but and you'll see them. You'll see them get caught. You'll see them get caught. It's just and the excavators really are the most expensive part of that whole setup anyway. It's not even the Rorqual itself, which is kind of sad. It's the excavator mining drones. I don't think there's just no second best with that kind of setup. I mean, you might as well like multi-box some Hulks or something. All right, so that's where we are. It was a good call for a sell. It was right at the crest there. Cass is the claw, my first big buy and sell. Oh, all right, good catch, man. Maybe most of that action was actually you. All right, next one we're gonna go over the Strong Frentix booster. It just stayed up there. It just stayed up there. Like it's not even tripping. It's like it's not even wavering. It's just like I'm it now. This is the new price of the Strong Frentix booster. 45 on the dot. All right. Hopefully someone cashed out on that or had a production line that was almost done with it. I'm kind of surprised it's behaving like that. Like it's not wavering at all. That's pretty interesting. And volume wise, nothing special about it. Nothing super special about it. All right, and Proteus was our last call from last week. see. Let's go back 7 days. We might have caught it at the crest again too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not so much in the crest. It's starting to correct, but it is at least, if you were to considering that's a 90-day picture, it's still a price that's slightly above what it has been for the past 90 days. So that's still a good call. It's just naturally correcting itself, right? It eventually will have to. It eventually must do that. Oh, okay, like 2 alts, 2 markets, 50 each. Amar and Jita, or the other smaller hubs. All right, so as far as activities over the weekend, that should strike some market discussions, hopefully. Just regular supply and demand. We're always talking about, oh, not enough destruction, oversupply, da 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 da. So I'm gonna look you guys a battle report. This is really good, man. I'm very proud to actually have been part of that. Not in the main fleet, but I was. This is PL, basically establishing a beachhead in Providence proper. So. Nearly tempted for the Proteus over the Claw. In short bursts, T3Cs actually can have opportunities there. Okay, so that's a battle report. Let's view that together. Let's break this apart. This happened over the weekend. Alright, so it's basically a whole lot of Providence people and test versus PL and friends. So that's pretty good. And so what got destroyed? Right from the get-go, a whole lot of nightmares got destroyed. Make note of that. A whole lot of nightmares got destroyed. Abaddons were in play. Rokes were in play. Ravens, but they lived. They're probably the jumpy kind. Maelstroms, but they lived. A whole lot of stuff, basically. A whole lot of ships in one place, trying to kill each other. So in this particular engagement, the Providence side earned a 81.7. Is that right? No, 75.9% efficiency, and it's kind of weird how it looks like this, but it was the Providence side won a lot, earned a lot of efficiency on that battle. It looks weird that to have test marked as red here, but they were actually working with us, so that was really good. Caps of smaller hubs, but Namar for sure was down there checking. I get so lucky in those contracts. Dude, the stuff I'm gonna show you. Oh man. Oh man. I kind of got caught myself though. But just finishing up with this battle report. So there's destruction. There's very, very active destruction. Note the ships that are in play. Lots of Abaddons, lots of nightmares, lots of Rokes, like Jackdaws, Lokis. You see a lot of them now. So, but you have to be careful when you're looking at, oh, there's so many of these ships that are in play. I'm gonna buy them and resell them. But you have to think about, in order to, if you think about maintaining an organization and having those types of ships there, they probably have a whole bunch of this stuff already. It's not like, these are very well-oiled organizations. It's not like they're, oh, we need 200 Jackdaws for the fight in 2 days, guys. Let's go buy them up now. Like, no, man, they have that stuff in stock. Or they have a legitimate production line that just produces that stuff. So be very careful when you try to act on when you want to act on that kind of information, because you may really be like late to the game. You are late already. If the war is already ongoing, trying to be smart about, oh, I'm gonna just like make ships or try to flip these ships that are used in the conflict. Like, dude, it's already too late. It's already too late. Unless the demand really is that great that whatever stockpiles they do have of these, whatever caches they have, like genuinely runs out. Cap says, "Am I gonna reach for a hard liquor when you show?" Maybe, maybe. I myself, I got caught though, so that's actually pretty funny how I got caught on that one. It's like definitely a story time. There could have been a Rhea lost. There could have been a very embarrassing Rhea loss, but it didn't. Thank God. Oh my God. Thank God. No Rheas were harmed in the production of this market show. However, arcs, not so much. Go find that. Let me go find that kill, man. I feel bad for the guy. I don't know the guy, but I feel bad. I feel bad. I really feel bad. Go hunt it out in Discord. Yeah, boy. Okay, I got it. All right. It's prepped. It's staged. It's staged. Terrible. It's a terrible, terrible loss, man. All right, so yeah, so that's just my thing about that because I see that kind of behavior, like especially even in the guys in my alliance, like, oh, I'm gonna make Feroxes, oh, I'm gonna make these ships, like okay, have you seen how much they're going for? Because you're not the only smart guy that came up with that idea, so you may be facing a whole lot of surplus on that side of the market, you know. So just be very careful, guys. Hey, Naughty, what's up? So be very careful about be very careful when you have interactions with the good idea fairy. Be very, very careful, especially in nullsec, where if you're in a position where, oh, I'm mining my own minerals, or oh, I'm importing all this stuff, and you know it takes a little bit of effort to make that happen. Be very careful when you're planning out, your activities in the market, because you may find yourself in a position where by the time you're done with your production line, the cost of the item is so depressed because it's so oversupplied. So be very, very careful about it. Be realistic. You know, don't just follow along when people say, oh, just make this. Like, no, man, dude, crunch your own numbers. Please crunch your own numbers. Do your due diligence. Actually do the legwork, guys. If you just follow along when people kind of say things like that, like, yeah, this is just me, but be suspicious of why they actually say that. Be suspicious of why they actually say that, because are they saying that because that's what they were told, or what? You know what I mean? So, do your homework. Do your homework. All right, so we definitely expect a lot more fights like that. So what kind of expectations should you have in that kind of environment, in this kind of environment where a large body in one side is going against another large body in another side? I wouldn't actually be watching completed products, to be honest with you. I'll be watching minerals. I will be watching PI, which we'll be going over, and I'll be watching the immediate kind of panic responses of residents, which we'll definitely be going over today. All right, so let's move forward from here for that one. All right, so next section are imports, exports. So we'll do some. We'll actually have something for imports for you guys. It's not so much. It's not so much like contract links or anything like that. It's just a new setup. So I got Rodin in Valkyrie Knights, you know, a member corp in Uli Federation. And I also have Robro, my original trading character. He's actually in Industrial Pursuits, which is another corporation in Providence. But they're more like a corporation that's blue with a lot of people, all right? If you can imagine a corporation full of like actual market people, and they're trying to kind of do that gameplay, but as a corporation. And I've always talked about this kind of like the collective marketplace. So what I've actually been doing with the kind of been helping out my CEO over there. So that's Caesar. He actually he's a pretty cool character. He actually does regional orders throughout all of Providence. And he's actually quite successful. And he's super patient for one. He's ridiculously patient. So he's definitely a character that I was like, man, like I thought I was patient with my market activities, but you're like you literally wait things out. And he's been pretty successful with his methods. So he actually approached me about like, hey, you know, do you mind managing some of these orders because I don't have enough order slots anymore. It's like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. So what we've been doing basically is, so he gave me rights to a wallet, and I basically have been managing orders that are, you know, assets that the corp is selling, and placing those orders against the corp wallet that I'm in charge of. And it's working. The thing actually works, man. So it's pretty cool. It takes an incredible amount of trust to make it work, but it works because you're as a collection of real people players, you're actually pooling your resources together. Resources being the abilities of the respective characters. So it's actually really neat. So what I've been tasked with is managing the orders of markets that are specifically not necessarily the major market hubs in the region. So kind of like sub markets, you know, that not a lot of people would necessarily be playing, but people do actually live there. So I just want to share that with you guys, and I thought that was a pretty cool idea, and I'm kind of surprised how well it's actually working. Oh man, them claws, man, them claws. All right, so that's just one. That's gonna be we'll consider the imports. So all the stuff that all the orders that I've been managing were basically items that have been bought from region, from buy orders, like not produced but buy orders, and then I'm reselling it. So that's what that's all about. So now we move into our exports, so our contracts. So first one I'm gonna link to you guys is a capital component. This man. This capital component contract nearly got me to lose my RIA, man. Holy crap. All right, so that's a contract for capital components bought for 344 million, and it's valued between 468 to 630 million in the MR market. I got most of it. So here's a little bit of story time. It's kind of embarrassing. So I was picking up that contract with my RIA. So it took I think 3 or 4 loads, and I was on the last load. Now, mind you, I was doing this. I was picking this up from a system that was nearly in the control of PL. I was literally ninjing this contract out of there with my RIA. Oh my god. In a system that was it just in the next 24 hours potentially could have been PLs, and it ended up being in the control of PL down the line. So I was, you know, jumping the RIA in and out, in and out, in and out on the last jump, of the last load. As soon as I come out of there, savers pop bubbles, big ships wanting to bump you out. It's like, nope. I just moonwalked out of that situation, man. It's like, no, not today. No, I am not losing this RIA today. No, not this guy. Not this guy. So, effectively, what ended up happening is my RIA was trapped. You know, I could still access it. I could still get in there. It's just that that station became bubbled because of, you know, for strategic purposes. And, you know, even though your ship has a jump drive, if it's in a bubble, it's not going anywhere. So what I ended up doing is actually selling my RIA for what I bought it for. I bought it for 10 billion. There was a little bit left of the capital parts in there, so I kind of sweetened the deal. I sold it for 10 billion. It got sold literally like within the hour when I placed it. And whoever picked up the contract for it, it was a neutral character. So I kind of feel bad if it was a legitimate neutral character and he tried to go get it and he couldn't. Hopefully that's not the case. Whoever it was ended up buying my RIA contract. Hopefully you actually have access to it and you can use it. That'd be great. That'd be great, you know. So just a little story time there. Luck is always with the devil. Yeah, man. Like, I don't feel too bad about it. I felt kind of like frustrated. Like, oh, this is the last load, man. Are you just kidding me? I'm trapped here. But it was on my last attempt. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna go for it. There's no bubbles now. I'm just gonna go for it. It's one of those like right before downtime things. Then I was like, because it was already under the control, but I still had a jump clone I could use to get in there, and they haven't messed with the jump clones yet. I was like, you know what? If I can, but I was kind of just playing it out in. At least it wasn't the first, like for real. Like, at least it wasn't the first load. So I got most of the stuff out there, like 90%, like about 75% of the value I was able to fish out of there. But I was like, all right, if I can get in there, and if I undock in the RIA, and if it suddenly just goes bad, and if I can't dock back up, I'm screwed. This is a RIA loss. It's like, nah, not for you. You know what? Once I played that in my head, like, you know what? It's not even worth it. I'm just gonna sell it. I wasn't expecting it to be actually sold so quickly. I put it for a 4-week contract, but it actually got sold within an hour or two. So I was like, all right, now I can just buy another RIA and Empire and just do it all over again. So I was pretty happy with that. That was a great experience. I'm glad that happened because then it forced me to be more picky with the contracts that I take and take more precautions, especially right now where we actually are actively in conflict with PL and friends. Yeah, that would have sucked. Yeah, so I'm back. The operation is backed up, but I just wanted to share that story. Along with that, someone linked me this lost mail, and I'm sorry if this is you out there, but I just want to share this. Like, so that's lost mail of an arc, and something tells me that this jump freighter was lost while gating. That's the only thing I can think of, man. It was either gating or it lost access to a station it was trying to get to. And I feel bad. So this is kind of like one of those public service announcements out there. Just because you have a jump freighter or a carrier or something with a jump drive on it and you're just jumping around willy-nilly, be very careful whether you can actually, especially in a region where SOV is exchanging hands, structure ownership is exchanging hands. Be very careful. Double check where you're going. Double check where you're going. Otherwise, you might find yourself in a position where you jump into the system and it's actually not safe. What you thought was safe was actually not safe. So please be careful out there for our jump freighter pilots. Believe it or not, you are one of the legit content drivers out there. We deliver war goods, man. So we do. I was kind of hoping that avatar. Ooh, man. Speaking of avatars, there's actually an avatar. There's an avatar being sold in Providence right now. I'm almost starting to say one that's a TO. It's for like 61 bill. I don't know if that's a good price. 61 billion for an avatar. I don't know. It sounds like it's a good deal. I don't know. It sounds cheap. Nowadays says, yeah, that's just as bad as jumping a Titan on a Freeport Citadel. You mean one of those MC Citadels? That shit feels like a scam sometimes. I'm sure it's not all of that, but it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. All right, so next contract I want to show you guys. This actually I got from one of my corp members. That's actually, it's too bad. It's too bad. He's a good guy. He was kind enough to offer his stuff and sell it to me. And I was like, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, but the Keepstar Highway, man. I put that up on one of my earlier, not the shows, but one of my the last few articles that I did. It actually highlighted that system. I think conceptually is a good idea. It's just it's I think it's a trust factor. It really is a trust factor. All right, so this one's for various ships. It's actually still sitting in my pocket because like I'm actually just gonna use it. Bought it for 960 mil, and it's valued at 1.15 bill. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. Because I'll actually find use for them. I'll probably just end up using them. So not too bad there. I've been getting a lot of these. I've been finding a lot of these, not just even in trade channels, but just in general regional contract searches. A lot of people are putting up what seemingly looks like legitimate fire sales. Like they don't wanna be bothered with moving their own stuff, or they're like, man, and you know, I really gotta cut down in the chance that I have to cut and run. I need to be slim, not have so many assets that I don't even care about. So I'm just selling stuff. But for in this particular case, it's more that hey, I'm leaving. So can you help me move my stuff, or you want to buy the stuff? That was more like, hey, I always buy stuff, man. I always buy stuff. I'm a junk man. All right, this is a contract I'm actually still sitting on. I have to move this like by tomorrow, like for real, for real. So this is PI. I actually want to touch on PI a little bit. So that's a PI contract. Bought it for 350, and it's valued between 357 and 463 mil. So it's pretty high value, pretty high, or decent turn, really good turnaround, really good turnaround. Let's do that real quick. This one is my bigger one. So 463 to 350. It's a 32% gain. That's pretty good. It literally like it's almost at the brim for my hauling capacity for my RIA. So like that's good. So I had to get better researching contract. I mean the thing too like is sometimes you just kind of stumble upon them. Like Cap, do you have access to P-Trade? Do you have it in your Provi character? Can you see P-Trade? The chat channel? So in that channel, you see a lot of people selling bookmarks. You'll see a lot of people posting contracts, things like that. That's the channel to be. Otherwise, sometimes I just look around and, you know, and I just keep my ears open. If someone says, hey, I might be leaving soon, like, hey, can I buy your stuff? It's just, you know, it's like, it's kind of slimy, but it's like, hey, man, I know you're leaving. Don't really care why. Can I buy your stuff? Well, it's just one of those things. Just one of those. It's just being honest. It's less slimy. It's actually a great public service because you know what? You're relieving that guy of the worry of having to manage his assets that he probably doesn't even care about at that point if he's intent on leaving. So, yeah, P-Trade. There's a in-game chat channel and there's also Slack of all things for P-Trade. So if your character or if you really want to get into this side, you really do need a character that can access these channels because these are the, you know, the blue channels from within the people that are working in Provi, right? I'm a flea in Provi, like so am I, man. I'm a nobody out there. I'm a nobody out there, but I do a lot of action, but they don't know who I am, which is really cool. That's actually really good. Naughty says, and some people have mailing lists in Provi where they post sales. Yep, they sure do. I myself am not part of it because it takes me a while to actually sell the stuff. I don't have that kind of liquidity as other people, so I kind of have to pick my spots. So. And all right, we're almost done with our contracts, guys. This one is a general loot contract. If you were to look at like P-Trade or the contracts market right now, you'll see a lot of general loot contracts. A lot. Like Short of folks trying to sell doctrine fits, this is probably easily 65-75% of the contract listings, at least as of this weekend. So with that general loot contract, that's valued at 336 mil. That's what I bought it for, and it's valued at 542 in Marcel. So let's check that out. 61% turnaround, man. This is actually one from my own corp mate, one of my alliance mates. I don't know why he didn't just hire me to move it for him, then he can sell it himself. But it's the convenience factor. But people just want to get paid right then and there, and he's willing to take that pay cut. 2 ships, Inishka and Adventure. I think I'm blue though. Oh, okay. If you're blue, can you access P-Trade? I'm not sure. Actually. If you're like, well, it depends like who blued you. If CVA blued you, I imagine you have access to it. I don't think so. All right. Oh, okay. So on one other thing in there. So you saw. So we just went over that battle report. Tons of nightmares were used, right? A fair amount of them actually got blasted out, got destroyed. I think as of like a few days ago, I was looking at Nightmare BPCs in Namar. I see them more there than I do in Jita. That's why I looked at Namar. They were selling for about 300 or so. Like, So that's adjusting the price of the Nightmares appropriately if that's the listed BPC price. But I actually managed to capture a BPC contract from my pocket for 220 million. So that's literally like pricing from almost 3 weeks ago. I don't know if the guy just wasn't aware that the price went up. But I was more than happy to match that contract and relieve him of his assets fairly. Battle report? Yeah, let me link that again to you, man. So this is a fight that happened this weekend. I expect more of it. Similar fights. Yeah, never convicted. What's up, man? Yeah, so Nightmare BPC for 220. It's selling for about between 420 to 440 right now in the MAR. The build cost for that is a bit over 100, honestly. So it's pretty good profit. If you're capturing if you're getting the Nightmare BPC contracts for about 300, where they're normally sitting right now, it doesn't give you a whole lot of profit, to be honest. It's almost not worth the effort. But if you're getting it cheaper than that, there might be something there. Yeah, Cap, if you could get those channels, that'd be great. They really would be. It'll change your life, man. It'll really change your life. like for real. Alright, made some notes here. There was a lot more opportunities to capture contracts. However, I just legit didn't have the time or the opportunity because I was just between picking up contracts that were sitting there for, from last week and nearly losing my RIA. Holy crap. And I just been moving a lot of war goods for our own purposes, for my alliance's purposes, and I haven't had time to actually work on other contracts. So I've been doing definitely more courier stuff more than anything. I don't really charge much on my couriers. It's really just to cover part of the gas cost. It's more a public service. So we talked about being careful with your expensive assets. PL has successfully taken control of an outpost in 4B and QN. That's where I almost lost my RIA. And from there, they could really branch out from everywhere, man. I mean, geographically speaking, they're pretty close to a lot of the key systems in the region. So it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary, and people, you can see that people are worried. They're fire selling their stuff. They're finding ways to not have as much of a footprint out there. So is that going to continue? Yeah, because tell you what, man, PL looks really well poised to actually do whatever it is that they intend to do in that region. I don't think there's a whole lot of people that can actually stop them. To be honest, to be absolutely honest with you. So at least at the objective level, at the fights for objective level, I think they're doing well. I think they're doing really well. Yeah, and we're definitely on the defensive. Providence definitely on the defensive. That's just a statement from just a lowly line member scrub. So I may be totally wrong, but that's how I see it, at least in my view. From my perspective, that's what's happening. Yeah, couldn't go to that fight. Yeah, I was part of the Intosis crew, and then before that, I was in the Cap fleet, and not gonna lie, like having done like some Cap fleet work, I'm like, it's not all it's cracked up to be. I'll be honest, guys. It's not all it's cracked up to be. It's not as glamorous or as exciting as you think it is. No, it's not. And this is my first interaction truly with the sob stuff. It doesn't seem fun. It really doesn't seem fun. Like I don't. I'm kind of surprised that we had that the developers, the CCP couldn't develop another system besides what effectively is a bastardization of faction warfare. That's such a shame. It's like it's almost evidence of lack of ideas. Or is it inability to implement it because of coding issues? I don't know. It doesn't seem that fun. It's not that fun. But I'm not sure how you can make Sob fun. I'm not sure how you can make Sob fun. Maybe that's the design. Maybe that's the design flaw that needs to be addressed. Making Sob fun, or the act of capturing Sob fun. I don't know. Oh, hey, more. Finally catching a stream. Well, in the next few weeks here, I'll be in EUTZ, so maybe y'all can catch me a little easier. Add reinforcement timers. So adding reinforcement timers to like the iHubs and stuff, because that just brings us back to Dominion, though, doesn't it? I guess my biggest concern and my biggest kind of gripe in this. And maybe it's because I don't see the coalition level picture, but it doesn't make sense to me that at least in nullsec, I don't care. I'm not talking about lowsec or wormhole space here, but in nullsec, it doesn't make sense to me that Citadel ownership is not tied to SOV. That doesn't make sense to me. That really doesn't make sense to me. I was like, doesn't look like fun, and following a Twitch stream is not that much fun either. What's that? Like, Ix says everything. Reinforced iHubs, reinforced ships, reinforced Sinofields. Oh, I don't know about that. But, I mean, there's I don't know. I wish it was more dynamic, though. Yeah, I'm a trader. It's fun for me. Yeah, it is. Like this kind of, like, chaos is absolutely wonderful. Because then it really... The calm, cool, and collected types with a plan really gets elevated. They get really elevated in this environment, and they just flourish. And like, look at the stuff we're getting ourselves into, guys. Like, look at the money we're making. Look at the kind of observations we're making. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, it's great, Hey, what's up, Eden? Good, man. Just chilling in there, man. What else we got? Talked about Caesar. Great. Oh, yeah. So this is another observation I got, guys. So overall, look at the market, contracts, asset management, like more importantly, asset management practices. So if you're living in Providence right now, and you can look at P-Trade, you can access the regional market, you'll notice that there is this very real urgency to sell things off that have been like just dusty inventory in outposts. So for whatever reason, I think it's really more the newts more than anything. There's a fair amount of assets that are still in outposts that for whatever, due to standings or just pure laziness, the owners can't move them properly into even a citadel within the same system. That's definitely a problem with neutrals, and Providence being Providence, there's true neutrals are welcome as long as they don't attack, and they basically can work and live out there like as if they were a proper resident. And those guys they're kind of scrambling to get their stuff out of the outposts. They're really really scrambling, because I think it's a pretty fair thing to say that PL is interested in those outposts, because those outposts will eventually become faction citadels. So I think that really is the monetary objective, is to actually take those items, or at least maybe that's part of the picture. Yeah, just hanging in there, man. Just doing this. Adam just doing the stream, and then just making observations as per usual, man. So it's been really good. It's been really good. So I think that's all we got. All right, cool. So that's all we got right now. So we'll go ahead and carry on with our picks for the week. Some pretty strange picks this week. Pretty strange picks. And probably for good fights. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I wish that really was the case. At least me as a person who lives in Provi, it's not always good fights. Sometimes it's just showing up. It's the maintenance. It's like maintenance mode stuff. Well, we'll see. All right, first one I'm going to go over is the Genulution Core Augmentation, CA2. I haven't called Genulutions in a long time. Alright, so I'm calling this as a... I think I'll be back eventually. It's the way, yeah, man. I'm calling this as a buy. It's this really would have been a more appropriate call if it was like 2 or 3 days ago. But I probably wouldn't buy into this now, but I just want to show it anyway. It was at one point sitting at the 90-day low, and it was just slowly creeping up there. Is there a little bit of room left in it? If you can get this at like 1.6, 1.7, I think you'll be in shape to actually flip it. If you can capture it right at the buy order of 159, let's play it off of that 159, and you can let's say it goes back up to 190, 159 and 190. I think that's pretty reasonable. That's potentially a 19% turnaround. That's pretty good. It's hard to tell though with these implants whether it actually eventually gets back up there. This dip that it recently suffered through, that's kind of I'm not sure where all that came from. So how could you get Genulutions now? I'm not sure how you even get Genulutions. Just a drop? Oh, you've been waiting for a market trading stream. Yeah, we've been around for a while, Calhoun. We've been a while, man. We're up to... Well, shit. Well, there's the Lone Wolf, right? And then there's definitely Lockfox when he was doing this from last year. Hopefully, I'm not sure if he'll ever come back. I kind of hope he does. Then we've been doing this. We're on episode 45 right now, so we're getting close. We're getting close. It'll be strange, I think, once I switch over to UTZ. It'll be interesting. See, I'm not sure. Do you guys know how Genulution cores make it to market? Or is this kind of like or do they are they like geckos where they technically aren't made anymore? I don't know. But that's how it looks like right now. I think there's a little bit of room left. You have to be really diligent in capturing the cheap buy orders, though. That's the only thing. And next I'm going to look at, oddly enough, I'm going to look at Tritanium. It's kind of funny, when I was making this list yesterday, my CEO was, he was playing off Tritanium in the Mars. Like, really? You're playing, someone was hardcore manipulating Tritanium in the Mars for like a few hours, and then it stopped. Like, weird. So weird. Also, Sebastian says J Illusions for a special edition item with the geckos. Okay, so they're not made anymore. Okay. I'm surprised that it sits at that price range then, man. It should be incredibly more expensive, but yeah, I guess not. Okay, let's look at titanium. Oh, I think I meant this for a sell. I would have bought titanium now. Does the picture change? I might have made a mistake and should have placed this on sell. Definitely a sell. Zug says, can you explain how price history graph works? It looks cool, but I don't understand. Like, totally get it. I should. Let me see. Like right now, so real quick, actually, so just a quick, so the titanium, I think I'm calling it as a sell. Actually, sorry guys, not a buy, but as a sell. Sorry about that. So, for example, I'm calling titanium as a sell, so not a buy, it's a sell. So sell it if you have it in volume. The Lone Wolf mentioned Trail on Sunday. Did he? Oh, okay, good. So right now, I'm calling it as a sell because it's of high value. So you got various elements of the graph right here. You got the orange circles, which is the median price, but it's actually more of the mean. It's actually not the median, it's the mean. Okay, so it's that type of average pricing. Then you got moving averages. Moving averages is basically, think of it as a so the 5-day moving average is the historical the visualization of the prices for the last like in 5-day blocks. That's how it is. All right, and the 20 days, same thing. All right. If the shorter moving average is above the longer moving average, that tends to be a classical sell signal. If it's reversed, then it's a buy. Been going up since Thursday. Okay, yeah, so definitely a sell. I'm not sure why. Sorry guys, that should be on the sell side for titanium. And then that would make so that's super simple though, Zugbu. But if you go through I think I covered this in my market lessons. Hold on. Let me link you. I'm almost certain I actually made a playlist for this. I'm almost certain. All right, got it. So that's a Zugbu. That's a playlist that I made with my market lesson videos, and I'm almost certain one of those actually covered the graphs. I'm almost certain I actually covered. That's very specific kind of market lessons, not so much presentations like these. All right, so that being said, we'll move on. So titanium is a sell. It's not a buy, it's a sell. How sustainable is this movement right now? Now, of course, this is not a universal picture. This is literally the forged picture, okay? With the mean above the 5-day moving average, above the 20-day moving average, and with a little bit of added volume, I'd say it's got a lot of steam to go up, man. I'd say it's got a lot of steam to go up. And if the level of destruction keeps up, we may be finding ourselves in a point where there's going to be genuine demand for low ends. So that's good. I just hope it's sustainable. I just really hope it's sustainable. Because I just don't know what level of, like, inventory these large organizations actually have. I just don't know. I just don't know. Like, I'm just part of, an alliance in Provi. And even from our scale, like, my indie guys, they literally, like, hoard this stuff. And it's absolutely amazing to me how much they actually have, how much inventory they have. All right, next one's gonna be a nitrogen isotope. I think this is a pretty soft call if I remember from my setup. So the nitrogen isotope is a soft call for a buy because it feels like the Stront picture. It feels like Stront. It feels like Strong where you think you've reached bottom, but it's not bottom. It's not bottom. Hey guys, like that playlist is one of the three I recommend to all beginners. Tell me no. Hey, that's awesome to hear, Cab. It's awesome to hear. I really want to make more, but I don't really think there's anything else I can add to that as a primer. Because kind of this level of presentation, it's not so much technicals anymore. It's more of seeing the picture, and that honestly just takes experience. It takes getting in there and making mistakes, acknowledging you make mistakes, and just moving along with that. It's really difficult to teach that. Yeah, when I get asked even from Alliance, like, hey, how do you do all this? Like, dude, just go out there and make mistakes. It's fine as long as you can recover from that loss. Just take it as a cost of learning. Take it think of it as your tuition. That's fine. It's totally fine, as long as you learn from it. Because there's different ways to do this. You can be totally creative in your approach to do this. Cap says 2 questions for me. How much is stockpile to the market? To market, finagle, how much is bespoken for their product queues? It's tough. That's a really tough question, man. Because I think it's easier to answer that question if you run the assumption that the supply is limited. But Eve being a game, supply is supply really is unlimited as long as you're, you know what I mean? It technically is unlimited. Because it's not like there's this incredible overhead to turn on your miners. There isn't, you know what I mean? So it's a tough question, but I think the better multiplier, the best thing to reference when it comes to things like that is how convenient is it and how safe is it to do that, right? Ick says, would it be better for null alliances? Cat is still Bystron. Holy, you're a brave man. Ick says, would it be better for null alliances to buy compressed ore and haul it to null to reprocess, since they can have such high yields out there and can take a lot more per trip over raw minerals? You are absolutely right. That should be how you do it. However, and I brought this up with alliance people. It's like I always wondered, like, hey guys, why are you mining? You know there's better ways to get minerals, right? Like, why are you mining? Like, like, I didn't mean to sound so condescending. I was like, why are, like, it's like, but that was a genuine, like, why are you guys mining? Like as soon as I was able to, I extracted all my mining skills on all my characters, because you know what? Like, mining is the least effective way to actually get minerals, like, legit. Down to the player level, it is inefficient. But a lot of people would still mine, because mining now in nullsec, at least, it serves not just the purpose of acquiring minerals, assuming you can actually work that to scale, but it is of strategic value to mine because it increases your ADMs. That's it. That really is it. Mining is not so much an industrial activity, and it kind of strikes me as other people aren't getting this yet. For whatever reason. Mining is predominantly, or you should think of mining as a strategic activity, not an industrial activity. Of course, it still serves the industrial purpose. However, it has much greater value as a strategic activity. So there's that. Cap says that's why the Chinese own everything worthwhile. That's true. Bitcoin. Oh my god. Oh man. I mean, I'm afraid to look at the Tron picture. Like, it's scarred me for life. It's scarred me for life. But yeah, but that's just my take on that. People mind because it has more value as a way to increase your ADM as opposed to make money. So it's just one of those things. All right, soft call the nitrogen isotope because I just don't know if it's actually reached. I don't think this is. I don't even think it's really going to go sideways from here. To be honest with you, I think it's going to reach this small plateau, then keep going down and keep going down. Why do I think that? I don't know if people are paying enough attention to actually mine them right now. I think a lot of people are actually involved on their PL mains and Provi mains right now to actually. They're enjoying fights as opposed to harvesting right now. At least that's what I would think. At least in the interim, at least in the short term, I think it's not gonna know where to go. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be erratic. Because what's really using nitrogen right now besides Rias? What's really, I mean, are there phoenixes out there that are, eating up all the nitrogen isos? I mean. Leviathans? I don't know. I mean, like, Rias for sure are eating this up. Rias for sure are eating up nitrogen isos. I eat up so much. I literally go through easily 200 plus million worth of nitrogen isotopes every week. Every week. Just doing literally simple contract runs. Super simple contract runs. Ick says, I like that people mine. It gives us more work to bomb our power bleeds. It's so true. You don't even have to kill the Oracle, you just gotta kill the mining drone. So bad. So bad. Not understanding what fuel components are acting. You and me both, Cap. I don't know. It's almost as if the powers that be that pull the levers, the actual market cabals out there. It's almost as if they're having a miscommunication. That's all I can think of, man. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, that's why I try to stay away from incredibly fundamental items in the game. At least for me, I can't have a really good grasp on them, especially if it's not something that I interact with from a beyond just a marketing perspective. Like if I don't harvest it or process it in some way, I don't really gain a good understanding of it. And finally, advanced PI. Okay, so I'm gonna show advanced PI real quick and actually have some notes in here to share with you guys on that. Based on what I've been seeing, I'm only using Providence as a reference, but I think it's a good enough piece of evidence that can be reasonably scaled universally. So first, let's take a look at observations at the general category of advanced PI. So these are the P4s. It's funny because this is not like we literally revisit this like every 2 or 3 weeks, like clockwork. All right, so broadcast nodes, it's at a trading channel, kind of depressed. Integrity response drones, same thing. Nano factories, same thing. Pretty vanilla looking, but it's on the lower end. Think of it that way, okay? Organic motor replicators, it just hasn't come back up. Recursive computing module, okay, so good picture. It's just super flat on the bottom and self-harmonizing power cord. Same thing with sterile conduits. Same thing with lip bears. Okay, so this is what I've been seeing. So, from one guy in my corp offered me a contract for P4s valued at 3.7 billion. One person. And like, and well, that was the buy value. I offered 3.7 billion. And I could have sold it for 4.5. To be honest, I'm glad he ended up not accepting the contract, because so that's just one person. In all of Provi, in all of the in and probably because of the nature of not just the actual like blues, but the true neutrals that have access to do PI there. Again, I'm just stockpiling P4s right now. This market is going weird, and and this is my hypothesis, Cap. With Providence as kind of an example, you have people that are freaking out about, oh, I don't feel comfortable being in this space and doing this Care Bear stuff anymore. I have to sell all my stuff that I've just been collecting dust here. And one of those items, oddly enough, that you don't see, I see a whole lot of, but I tend not to capture because of the locations of where I need to pick them up and the sheer volume of this stuff. I see a lot of potentially good deals on P2 to P4 daily from just Provi. People are freaking out, like, and they don't want to be stuck holding something that takes up so much volume and it's so difficult to move, and that they're fire selling it, assuming that all these PI fire sales are actually getting bought up. The people who buy it aren't going to keep it there. They're going to take it out of there and actually put it out to the general high sec market, right? And I think there's enough volume in there to actually start influencing prices, because those things will, and unfortunately it's just common behavior. I think a fair amount of those items are just going to get insta-bought, are just going to get insta-sold, like insta-sell it. I need to cash out now, insta-sell it. And it's just going to further depress the price. I think it's fairly reasonable to expect, at least, I would say within the next 1 to 3 weeks, a noticeable dip in the price. And that's just how I think that's fairly reasonable to have that expectation. Especially if those PI fire sales are actually successfully getting moved out of there. But that's just at least how I'm thinking about it, because if one guy was able to produce that much and he's willing to basically give it up for sale, like deep sale, and he's comfortable, and he was nearly comfortable doing that, he's not going to be the only one with that kind of behavior. He's not going to be the only one with that kind of behavior. There are way more people that are really panicking right now. Really panicking. Cap says, "Okay, guess I'm going to streamline back to P2, P3 and keep it on the show." This PI is such a long play. And think about this too. With the structures that it's going to be, you're going to find yourself in this kind of weird production thing where, like yesterday, there was a Fortizar that was destroyed in Providence. Just out of the blue, no one even had a second thought about that. Not even us as like Provi people, we didn't even like, okay, that was cool, whatever. Yeah, Keepstar just got destroyed, man. And they're like, yeah, that's cool, whatever. They got the So yeah, like large structures are dying. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna get replaced right away, because people will stockpile the requisite materials and then build them, right? As normal people do. But just know that those things actually are happening. Yeah, God time. Yeah, man. There's plenty of, like the PL being out here. It's really fun having them here. It really is. It's great. It's great entertainment. It's great to see celebrities like Elise Randolph, man. I saw him in local the other day. I was like, oh, I thought he left the game. I was like, oh my God, I haven't seen this guy in local in forever. But it's really cool to see him. It's really cool to see him talking local. It's awesome. So that's just my idea on that one. If it happens, I'm gonna be like, it's not gonna, that's just a hypothesis. It could totally not happen because of the conditions that I before mentioned. But I think it's a reasonable possibility. It's definitely a possible, I think. All right, so those are all our buys, and then one sell we called Tritanium for a sell. So moving on to our sells, so we're going to move on to geckos. Hi, geckos, caught me by surprise. Not sure what triggered this. Like, I totally missed this. Where the heck did this come from? Why was there such a demand on geckos? Like, people were straight buying this. Straight up buying this. I mean, is it because I need something heavy duty to rat with to make money? Because I'm in war and I need to refill the wallet. Is that what's going on here? Like the rattlesnake gecko combo. And that's all I can think of, to be honest. Like legit like ratting setups. I can't imagine it's being used for PvP. That's kind of crazy. But if you have geckos stored on old characters that were gifted them, now may be the time, man. This is a historical high for this item. This is legit historical high. If you're ever gonna cash out on geckos, now may actually be like the time, like legit. You may want to actually do that now. All right. I'm pretty sure it's PvE driven. I'm pretty sure. Next one is Morphite. Morphite, man. One of the things that really got me, that really have burned me over the last few months, Straunt and Morphite. It's cresting over. It went as far as if you captured Morphite at the low. I know we called Morphite a historic, like right around here, because it was a historical low. Now is probably the time to finally cash out on it if you don't intend to actually produce anything with your Morphite. I was like, mass purchase from all those dead fighters killing large structures. Maybe. Maybe. If you have a whole stock of Morphite, now might be the time. Now might be the time. Or now might be the time to consider restarting your Tech 2 production line. So two possibilities with, as far as a play on Morphite. Kolov says, I wonder if the increase in gecko price is due to alphas getting around to using them. That's for that price range though. If that's true, I would probably caveat that with that's probably not genuine alphas. That's probably alpha alts. But even then, is that a value item to use on a character that can't fully utilize it? You know. I see where you're going with that though. That's definitely that's a great hypothesis. It just seems like an inefficient hypothesis. But at the same time, if they're genuine alpha players, they probably don't know that it's inefficient. It's like, oh man, that's a really cool item, right? It's gonna go sideways. The Morphite? Fuck. Think so? I don't know, man. I mean, going sideways makes sense for like fundamental raw materials. That makes like a sideways movement is very. You should always expect a sideways movement of some sort until it figures out where to go. But if you have it and you don't, and like you can't produce it, you just have it stored somewhere. You might want to sell it if you don't have to do anything within the next 3 months. Like for real, might as well. Especially if we captured it when we called it last, like right around here. That might be the time, man. Maybe the time. And helium isotopes, another cell. It's seeing a lot of action. So why helium isotopes? Apostles. Like straight up. Apostles. Apostles. Alright. So helium isotopes is the Amar variant of the fuel types. Like I bought so much of this stuff for myself to use so that I don't have to ever go back. At least for the next 2 months, I don't see myself ever needing to refill my stash of helium isotopes. Kolov says, do rattle botters use geckos? If it's a bot, assuming it has a lot of money on hand, it would make sense to use geckos because it's got an HP bonus. The geckos do, and the rattlesnake gives it a. Let's double check. I'm pretty sure the rattlesnake gives bonuses to drone HP. If so, that could explain the volume of it. Yeah, that's a good point. If not, it's either something else or it's genuinely just alpha's whites to rattlesnake ratting. If I was an alpha and I had some disposable income, I'd at least check it out, right? Why not? I mean, I'm effectively playing for free. So if I'm playing for free, I don't feel as guilty about buying into microtransaction items. Like you're avoiding Strand then. Fuck Strand. What? So for you guys that actually can legitimately play the Provi market, you guys should really stock the station where we stage our caps, because those poor bastards, man, going one jump over to get fuel items. Help a brother out. Do me a favor. Fill that station up with fuel types, and fill that station up with, like, I don't know, with some strong fighters, things like that, right? Just saying. Help a brother out. Use Fed Navy, my rat. The last time I actually used my rattlesnake to rat in, I used geckos. I definitely used geckos, yeah. It was worth it. It was totally worth it. Totally worth it. And finally, the Nestor. I myself have never used the Nestor. However, I'm not sure what this is all about. Not sure what this is all about. Is this a wormhole thing? It's probably a wormhole thing. And it could also be, so you see the same pattern actually kind of repeat itself through all the Sisters of Eve ship lines, okay? A very similar pattern you see on the Stratios, a very similar pattern you see on the Asteros. So it could also be a product of the Sisters of Eve LP just being of high value right now. Maybe people just aren't able to farm them as effectively because of the conflict, the wars that are going on right now. I think that's pretty fair. That's pretty fair. But as a ship, I mean, it's a wormhole thing for sure. It's just like that much though. Maybe that in conjunction with the value of the Sisters of Eve LP is making the price rise in general for the entire ship line. All right, I think that's all the stuff I actually wanted to get across to you guys. We had a little bit extra time here, an hour and a half. Caleb says, I'm loving the SOE LP being high value at the moment. I don't even know why it is. I think it's just people not having an opportunity to dump into it. I think that's honestly what it is. If you run incursions though, can you exchange it for SOE LP? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Kind of weird if you could. But regardless of kind of how or behind, as far as the mechanics behind that, it appears that the SOE LP seems to be of high value right now. It's probably just not being farmed as effectively, like I said. At least based on the pricing of these hulls. You can exchange it, okay, but at a lower rate, alright. Okay. That's one of the reasons it's consistently more valuable than Empire LP. That makes sense. But yeah, it's just like across all the ship lines, man, they're increasing in value. So it's definitely, that's what leads me to believe it's not a ship thing, it's an LP thing. So I'm not sure what else you can buy with SOE LP, but it's definitely something worth investigating if it's something beyond these ships. Yep, that's really all I got. Oh, I meant the small spike it has experienced recently. It's around 1,900 to 2,000 ish per LP sell value at the moment. Oh, that's really good. That's really good. That's pretty impressive. That's really good. That's like the high-end implants for like all the other Empire LPs. That's really good. All right, so that's really all I have, guys. Thanks very much. I think we had a great discussion today, and we went over some real stuff that's happening in Providence. And hopefully will continue to happen, and we'll have some sort of resolution, one way or another. At least from the market perspective, it's Providence is kind of the place to be right now. Or Providence and its surrounding areas, it really is the place to be right now. Especially if you can actually dock. You have to be able to dock and get your stuff, get your contracts, and get your market items. Otherwise, you're really putting yourself at risk. That's really all I got, guys. Well, thanks very much for sticking around and having really cool conversations with all of us. And as per usual, this will be up on YouTube by tomorrow. And in a few short weeks, probably within the next 3 months or so, I'm going to be switching over to EUTZ. So for those of you guys who can't catch it live because of that, and then I'll be on your side of the pond now. So that's gonna be interesting. I'm really looking forward to that. It's gonna take me a while to probably get everything reset up. So there's gonna be a break of how long. I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. That's something something to figure out for sure. But hey, thank you very much, guys. And then I think we'll cut it here. And this will be up on YouTube by tomorrow. All right. Well, thank you very much, and I'll see you next week. As far as expectations for next week, I actually don't have a whole lot of expectations because this is definitely new territory for me. Being in an active war zone, in active war, and being a market guy, that's totally new for me. I actually have no expectations for next week because I don't know what the heck's gonna happen. I just don't know what's gonna happen, and that's kind of the beauty of it. That's the fun part, right? All right, well, thanks very much, guys, and I'll see you all next week. Thanks. Damn strong.